Welcome to the channel. I'm James Salvatore, and today is going to be a treat. I'm sitting in a 2019 Mercedes AMG E63S, and the point of today's video is to kind of go through some of the pros and cons of buying a used E63, especially if you've been considering a new one and don't want to wait like a year to a year and a half because of the shortage. So in this video, I'm going to talk about the specs with you, then talk about tech features, maybe talk about what feels a little bit outdated at this point compared to Mercedes' current stuff. I'm going to talk about practicality, and then, of course, we're going to have some fun. This thing is a weapon. Sitting at the top of the E-Class model lineup for 2019, the E63S really blurred lines and redefined expectations for what a German super sedan could be. From its aggressive, bold styling and cutting-edge technology and level of practicality, you really can have it all with this car. Performance figures are impressive, as the E63S features a hand-built 4-liter twin-turbo V8 that produces 603 horsepower and 627 foot-pounds of torque, mated to a 9-speed multi-clutch transmission. With launch mode engaged, it'll do 0 to 60 in just 3.3 seconds with a top speed of 186 miles an hour, which is very impressive seeing that this car has a curb weight of 4,500 pounds. When it comes to fuel economy, it'll do 15 miles per gallon in the city and 23 on the highway. And in the rear, you have 13 cubic feet of cargo storage with the ability to put down the rear seats for more. On the interior, there really isn't that much physically different from the new car. The only revised change for the most part is the steering wheel, and they've done away with this rotary wheel touchpad combo in favor for just a touchpad. The only major differences have to do with software. The driver's information center, you do now have more layouts to choose from in the new car instead of just 3 in this car, and the graphics have just been updated overall. And when it comes to the infotainment system, a lot has changed there. They've gone to MBUX, which is their updated software. It now has a virtual voice assistant, wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and the ability to have a touchscreen, which this isn't touchscreen. So if that matters to you, that might be one of those things to add to the cons list, see if you could kind of overcome that. But at least you're not missing out on smartphone connectivity. You still have the option to do Apple CarPlay, no Android Auto, unfortunately, through the wire connection down here right next to the charging pad. With the quirkiest and coolest features being the track apps, I think it's pretty neat that this has pretty much every track built in. I wish I could demonstrate it, but we're not close enough for a track to pick it up. And you do have a drag race mode, which kind of allows you to keep track of your quarter mile, your braking distance, as well as your acceleration, like 0 to 60 times, which is really cool. And sitting in the back isn't that bad. I have a decent amount of leg room. Headroom is okay. I'm 6'1", so I fit back here all right. Any taller than that, I'd say you'd be a little crunched. 4 full-size adults would fit okay, but having a 5th would definitely be very tight in this car. Getting into the E63, right away, for me, this blurs the lines between luxury car and race car. Because this is a car that I'm going comfortably down the road in. I'm getting a massage in, I have active bolsters, and I can fit 5 people and pretty much anything I need to in the trunk. But then you put your foot down and, whoa, yeah, it just gets up and goes. That instantaneous, I want to rip your head off response, and I absolutely love it. I think it's exactly what I was hoping for it to be. And you really feel the road in this car. You don't feel disconnected. Yes, it's a luxury car, but it definitely makes you feel that it's more race car than luxury car. It's like every crevice in the road, you just go right over it, but the suspension really gives you just such a sense of confidence. And the response that you get out of this engine right away, just wow. What a car. It gets up and goes right away. There is no hesitation, no delay. And the dual clutch transmission performs flawlessly. Some would argue that Porsche's PDK is almost unbeatable. And you know what, maybe on a track you might notice that, but for normal street driving, this is just absolutely perfect. Just listen to that noise. Yeah, For all of you that love electric cars, yeah, they're cool, but they don't do this. Yeah, they don't put a smile on your face like that because there's not enough drama. There's not as much excitement in an electric car. It's too quiet for me. I like something that's a bit rowdy, and this is definitely the perfect balance of that. I'm gonna miss these V8 cars when they're gone. You know, there's no reason for Mercedes to build a four-door sedan that has this much power, but they do it anyways to put a smile on your face in the name of having a good time. And that's what this car is all about. It's supposed to be silly. It's supposed to be ridiculous. But sometimes you could use a little bit of ridiculous. And throwing this thing into a bit of a corner, I mean, it's just so planted and glued to the road. And there's very, very minimal body roll for something this large. Just listen to those downshifts. Oh, the cracks and the pops on those shifts. Oh man, that's just exciting. I think what's so amazing about the E63 is the dual personality of this car. It goes from being complete like race car, track weapon, I'm gonna rip your face off, to a docile cruiser. Wow, just listen to that. Now, that is properly exciting. If you're enjoying the video right now, be sure not to forget to hit the like button, subscribe, turn on that bell notification. It would mean a whole lot to me. As you can see on the channel, I do lots of cool cars, and if you're an automotive enthusiast, you're not going to want to miss out. So be sure to join me. Now let's get back into the video. And I mean, I think what blows my mind about this is flip it back into comfort mode. The exhaust quiets down, the steering response has changed, and since we do have air suspension in this car, it becomes actually pretty comfortable. You wouldn't expect something this stiff to be able to have this much flexibility with ride comfort, but it actually does. There are a few cars, and I review a lot of cars, that can actually pull this off. They're either one or the other. You put them into comfort mode and they still feel very racy and you really hardly notice a difference. They're not smooth, the transmissions are jumpy. This is none of that. This goes to being soft, supple, and even though this has a dual clutch transmission, it's not lurchy or jumpy off the line at all. And one of the coolest things about the E63, if you don't know, yes, it's all-wheel drive. However, there is a drift mode. So basically what that does is it disengages the front end. You shut off the stability control, have it in drive, pull two paddles back, hit the upshift button once, and then you're locked in. And then you can do your drifts, your burnouts, your donuts, whatever your heart desires. Unfortunately, of course, today I can't do that, but it's just nice to know it has the feature. All right, approaching some windy back roads. Let's have a little fun. Wow, yeah. This is the proper amount of power for a car of this size. It honestly is. It's not too much where it's not controllable, but it's just the right amount to make a big, heavy car like this actually perform like a sports car. And I'm not just saying that just for the sake of it, because trust me, I've driven my fair share of, you know, high-end sports cars. This genuinely does feel like a sports car when you go down the road in it, especially when you have the suspension settings in the stiffest mode. And I would say to live with one of these on a daily basis definitely wouldn't be very hard. As I said earlier, it's a very practical car. You could fit people in it, and it's all-wheel drive. So if you live in areas where you experience winter, you're not going to have any issues. You're not going to have any issues at all, provided you put on snow tires. Hence, snow tires. Do not be the idiot who drives with summer tires in the winter time with this thing, because you will be breaking traction left and right. Let's get a little acceleration in. Oh my God, this thing is just a blast. Even though this is a few years old, I definitely wouldn't be deterred from buying it. It still feels modern in every way. Nothing, in my opinion, feels really outdated about this experience at this time. And buying one from a Mercedes dealer means that you get a CPO warranty, which is great because Right now, they're advertising unlimited mileage warranties for these pre-owned cars, and you can extend them for like 2 to 3 years after you buy the car, which is great because essentially you have a race car that you could drive the hell out of it and not worry about it when it breaks down, if it breaks down. I can't speak for the reliability long term on these cars, but it's nice to know that you have an unlimited mileage warranty backing these cars, which is longer than actually what you get if you were to purchase a new car. A new car, you only have, I think, what was it? I think it was like 3 years or 50,000 miles, whatever comes first. Most likely the 50,000 miles may come first, and then, you know, you're out of luck if something goes wrong. So there's definitely a good value in that. And to sum up my experience with the E63 overall, I really have nothing bad to say about this car, because if you think about this, this is a car that if you wanted to, you could drive it on a track, you could drift it, you could do burnouts, you could do donuts. And then when you're done with all that, you could put it back into comfort mode, go pick up your friends or your wife or the kids from school, and have a car that is perfectly 100% practical, and that's a bit under the radar. If you're somebody who wants a performance, you want a sports car, but you don't want something that sticks out too much, this is a wolf in sheep's clothing. It truly blends in, and that's always kind of been the trick of the E63. But it does everything well. The tech is not outdated. Even though this is a few years old, you're still getting almost, I'd say, 90% of the function that you get in a 2022 car in this car at this point. So that should not be a reason for you to hold back. Yes, the outside styling has been revised a little bit in the facelift car, but this is still a striking car. When you see them in person, you notice them. So with that said, I strongly recommend going for the pre-owned experience. I mean, there is nothing bad to be said about this. So with that said, I definitely recommend you check one of these out. That sums up things with the E63. If you enjoyed the video as much as I enjoyed making it for you, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the bell notification so you don't miss out on next week's video. Before I go, I'd like to say a special thanks to my friends down at Mercedes-Benz of Fairfield for providing today's car. If you're in the market for an E63 or any Mercedes in general, be sure to give them a call. I'm going to leave their contact information in the description below for you to do so. With that said, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next video.